We gonna have to rest all our prayers and hope on Michael at this point, because all these couples, we don't see it for them. They are not going to make it. So hopefully if Michael can get a redo, maybe he can be the hope and the savior of the season, because for everybody else, they down bad. All the couples down bad right now, okay? The only one doing good is Michael, and he didn't get to get married. Anyway. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. It's Wednesday night, so we gotta talk about Lifetime's Married at First Sight in Denver, Colorado. This is season 17, episode 10, titled Breaking Up the Party. Please do not hesitate to click that thumbs up button before this video goes off. Also, subscribe to the channel, y'all. We're very, very close to our next milestone. I think we need less than 30. So I do need y'all support, okay? We're trying to grow this channel. Trying to do some big things in 2024, y'all. So help a sister out. If y'all have a channel, drop it in the comments. I definitely will subscribe and support you as well. Or if you have something else you're doing and you want support on or shout out on, drop it in the comments. Let's help each other out. Let's be a family. Also, it's the holidays, y'all. It's a season to give. Share this video where you like to share your content. And like I said, comment down below, y'all. Now, this episode was cool. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it in the comments. But, I mean, it gave a lot, but it didn't give nothing at all, really. But the after party was where the tea was spilled. Did y'all watch the after party tonight? Because the after party... Cameron was spraying at the after party, okay? And Lauren was trying to defend her girl, Claire. Anyway, we're going to get into all that. I'm going to just kind of tie an after party into the episode. I feel like that works best to help us give context to the situation, okay? So we're just going to go from beginning to end. We may go a little bit out of order. I'm not going to do couple by couple because each couple kind of experienced the same thing, okay? So let's get into it. So, episode, we see like a bunch of little short scenes. We see Claire and Cameron open up the episode and they're like laying in bed and they're kind of rehashing the night before when Cameron blurted out that his dad was sick on his deathbed. And, you know, she was like, yeah, that took me by surprise. So he kind of clarified it and said that, you know, he was ill. And, you know, he did say after that he thought that she kind of knew already, but I think he didn't like fully explain it when he first told her, because he did tell her like, hey, my dad isn't here because he's not well enough to fly. And so he did let Claire know in that moment on the show that, you know, he's dealt with this situation with his dad so many years. So that's why he said it the way he did, because he's already been dealing with it. And so the reason why he didn't tell his dad about him being married is because his dad's health is so fragile, and he doesn't want to be a contributor to him, you know, breaking down further. Like he said, his dad is a survivor, and he doesn't want to reverse that by telling him some news that maybe his dad couldn't be able to handle, basically. That would like stress his body out. So I totally get what Cameron was saying. And in the after party, I do have to give him credit, because the way he explained it actually made it make way more sense. Is because he said, when his mom and dad divorced, his dad's lung collapsed. And then after that, you know, his health just continued to decline. He's had this chronic health issue. And so he was like 13 or 15 or something like that when his parents divorced. So I think in his mind, probably from being a kid, like, okay, my dad had this devastating thing happen to him. You know, once this heartbreak happened, so he probably is like, I don't want to tell my dad something like I got married at first sight, because he saw what happened to his dad when his parents got divorced. So I think that's why another context, deeper layer of why he's not going to tell the dad. And I totally get it and respect it. It's like when you have elderly people, like for example, my great grandma years ago, I remember all her friends were passing, and a family member of ours who was also elderly had passed away, and nobody wanted to tell my great grandmother because they didn't know how she would handle it, because she was so old, and, you know, they didn't want to make it stress her body out. So I understand that, right? Anyway, they got through that. We see Becca and Austin playing some game. He said his mom used to play with him. It made no sense to me. It was pecking and something else. Becca said she gonna take this game and try to build the sexual tension because she's ready to get it popping, and Austin is moving slow as a turtle. They're doing all these little sexual innuendos, but it was giving nothing, waste of time. We see Brennon and Emily. Brennan looks like he's cooking breakfast for Emily. Emily is again apologizing on behalf of her friends. And I'm like, girl, you don't need to apologize for them. They was doing the work of the Lord, okay? He deserved all that smoke. Maybe their tactics were not the best, but he deserved all the smoke he got, okay? But she was apologizing for her friends over and over again. So then we do see, I believe we saw Brennon and Emily go to her Pilates class, and it was like the machines. Y'all know I want to try that because y'all know I'm getting to my fitness. So it looked hard though. He was sweating. He needed water. He was tired. And so Emily said they spent the whole day together. Now they're doing that. So she feels like they're getting back on a good path. We gonna see. Anywho, let's see. Then we saw Claire and Cameron like eating, and he said they were, I forgot the big word he used to describe chewing. I know the word, I just can't think of it right now, y'all. It's late. It's way past my bedtime. So anywho, so she got irritated with him, like, oh, here you go trying to use these big words. You could have just said chewing. You could tell Claire don't like Cameron. And Claire, you know, as much smoke as we give Cameron, I'm gonna need you to just say you don't like this man. But you know, the thing that's irritating me about season 17 of Mass, the Denver people, y'all didn't watch too many seasons of Married at First Sight, and they, to me, are too concerned with looking like the bad guy of the show. They don't want to be the villains of the show because they know those people always remember it. So everybody's trying to tiptoe and act like they're not the villain of the show, but really you're giving villain Brennon, Orion. Okay, you're really just giving Brennon. Austin, you about to be in that boat too pretty soon. Okay, anywho. So Cameron is getting tired of Claire, you know, disrespecting him, feeling like, you know, she always irritated with him and all that. So he was like, you know what, let me just bring up a point because, you know, it feels like you know, we're at a kind of a stuck point when it comes to our romance and our chemistry. It feels like, you know, you're not really feeling me like that. I don't know. And then she was like, do you feel like, he's like, do you feel like I show you, you know, romantic gestures? Like, what is it? And so she said she does feel like he does, like when he checks on her and all that, she feels the romance from him. But she said, you know, for her, it's just not natural to do anything romantic with him, like to kiss him or do anything like that. It's not natural for him. For her, she's like, there's nothing against you. That's just how I feel. She's like, but you feel the same way, right? She's like, I know for you, you're not feeling any romantic feelings towards me. Like, it wouldn't be natural for you to kiss me. And he was like, no, like, I want to. Like, I would do that, but you're not. Like, basically, you're not giving me nothing, girl. And so he said, I'm, you know, starting to really like you and all this stuff. And so I want to do those things. And so she was like, oh, well, that surprises me because I didn't think you felt that way. So that puts a different spin on it. And so now she acting like she didn't know that he liked her, and they didn't really come to any kind of resolve. But he's like, he doesn't, you know, basically like he said at the party, he doesn't want to get hurt. Like, he don't want to put his feelings into it if she's not gonna put hers, basically. So anyway, then I think we see Becca and Austin shopping because they're getting ready for this cast potluck. So we see everybody go down to the potluck with the food. Emily and Brennan brought plenty of stuff, but you know, Emily had plenty of stuff down to the house, so they was gonna have plenty to bring. I guess the other couples didn't bring that much, so Brennan was like, we all didn't bring nothing, we had to save the day. So Cameron said, you know, if we brought 8 stuff, or if 8 people brought stuff, or 8 people didn't be enough to feed 36 people, you know, he was doing some weird math, but really that's not it, because that's why you bring different stuff, like somebody bring the plates, the drinks, the desserts, the main dish, the chicken, the cornbread, you know, like that, Cameron. Anywho, so Brennan kind of made like a smart aleck joke about it. Anyway, we see, they're like, okay, Ryan and Lauren are not here. We don't know if they're coming. We don't know what's going on. So I thought they already knew that they was getting a divorce, but I guess they didn't know. So Lauren came, they were like, where's Orion? She's like, girl, I don't know. I thought he was coming. I don't know. And so they asked, did you move in? She said, no, we did not move in. So I was like, why they keep asking them questions like they don't know what's going on? So I almost tweeted it, but then I just kept watching, and then they did explain what's going on with their marriage, right? So Orion came with the desserts. And so then they all sat down, you know, they're asking each other about how their marriages are going. I think Brennan and Emily talked about the issues they having in their marriage. So then they asked Lauren. So Orion's like, well, let me tell y'all what's going on with us, right? So this part pissed me off, but we're going to get into it. So Ryan said, you know, basically during the honeymoon, you know, we were going through some things. And then we came back. It was really obvious that it wasn't going to work. And then after we met with Dr. P, it just really solidified for me that this was not going to work. And so Lauren was like, no, you asked for a divorce. Make it clear. Make it clear. So he was like, yes, I asked for the divorce. And so she said, so somehow Lauren and Orion get to talking about all this stuff, and they get to tussling back and forth, right? And which Orion deserved all the smoke Lauren gave him. And I was like, yes, Lauren, hold him accountable, girl. Because Orion, you're a liar, and you tried it. And you trying to be a master manipulator, and I don't see it for you ever. You need to take your confused self back to your mama basement and stay there until you get unconfused, okay? Till you get some clarity about what you are and who you are and what you want to be. You need to go back to your mama basement. So Lauren and Orion was going back and forth, right? And Orion was saying, you know, it's just some things in the honeymoon that made it clear for me that I was no longer feeling the romantic feelings, and I didn't want to continue. Basically, he didn't want to continue to waste his time. So Lauren was like, what's his name? Brennon asked Lauren, do you feel like Orion didn't really give it a shot? She said, yes, I do. You know, he definitely, you know, we had our issue on the honeymoon with the, you know, joke, the inappropriate joke that I made. You know, she apologized for it. She's like, however, you know, you slut shamed me during the honeymoon. You try to make me feel bad. You said that I caused this marriage to be a failure. You caused me a failure in the marriage, even though with you, I kept telling you, you weren't a failure in the marriage. And instead of you, you know, making me not feel like a failure and making me not feel so bad, you were too worried about how you felt bad for making me feel bad and crying about that, which you were. You was making all the tears all about you, Orion. So then he's like, no, I never said you're a failure in the marriage. She's like, yes, you did. He's like, I did apologize. She's like, no, you did not. And so then she was like, and if you did feel like why would you say that like that? If you're, you know, your sorry is not genuine. And then he was like, no, I didn't say you're a failure in the marriage. I don't know. He said, I don't think you're a failure in the marriage. And so then she was like, okay, then why did you say it? You said it before. And so then he was like, I'm not changing what I said. Like, da-da-da. And so then she was like, actually, you be flip-flopping on what you say all the time. And he was like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And then she was like, you be gaslighting, bro. I was like, yes, he does, girl. She's like, see, I'm going to call it out right now. You be gaslighting. She was like, and you know what? If you're not going to hold yourself accountable, I'm going to hold you accountable right now, man. You take some accountability for what you be doing and what you be saying. I was like, finally getting to his ass, Lauren. Meanwhile, all the rest of the couples, aka all the white people, because you know Lauren only went like this up in there, they was looking like, child, they was looking where they wasn't eating and drinking nothing. They was looking like, ooh, this potluck, it then went downhill. I was like, this potluck is awkward. So anywho, yeah, it was rough, right? And so he was like, I don't know, you know, like, what else you want to say? I don't know what I need to take accountability for. Like, what I'm saying is, I have romantic feelings for you at the wedding day. When we got down to the end of the honeymoon, I didn't feel that way anymore, and that's what it is. And so they still went back and forth a tad bit more. And Lauren, you could tell, was getting very, very upset. And so then Cameron jumped in. He's like, you know what, Lauren, I can relate. You know what I mean? Claire going through our issues. You know, we have a difference in opinion on how we want to raise our kids and religion. And, you know, the romance and the chemistry is not there. And he's like, I really could see myself falling for Claire. I really like her. And, you know, I want it to work. And so we're just trying to figure that out. And so I think then we end up getting to Becca and Austin, right? I'm gonna just fix this camera, y'all. I can't remember. I think Brennon or Emily asked how they're doing. And so they said they can relate with religious issues as well. And then he's moving slow when it comes to intimacy and all that stuff, right? And so they all talk crying. They started crying, y'all. Oh, it was just so hard being down to the Married at First Sight, and everybody's crying. They want to do a group hug. I was like, what happened to this potluck? This is rough. Denver, Married at First Sight, Denver Mavs, y'all rough. Like, I'm going to need y'all to do something else this season because it's very, very rough. Y'all might as well throw the whole season away because there's no couples. It's not even possible at this point. Okay, we about to go board for my spades players. So anywho, you know, people are sharing in their confessions how they feel bad, everybody going through what they're going through. Lauren said, you know, it sucks to hear what the couples are going through, but at the same time, she appreciates hearing that, you know, they can relate, right? So then we see her start to tear up in the confessional, y'all. She started crying to the point where she dropped to the floor, squatting down, crying, sliding down the wall. I said, Lauren, if you don't stand up and stop crying over this loser Orion, girl, no more tears over Orion. I get it. You went through it. You didn't know him long enough. Girl, no more tears over Orion. But what I wonder is it, let me know what y'all think why Lauren keep crying over Orion's heart. Is it her ego is bruised, maybe? Is it like, no, you're going to like me? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, girl, if you don't start sliding down the wall, if you don't stop sliding down the wall with Orion, please stop sliding down the wall. Anywho, after that, we get to, I believe then we start seeing the meetings with Dr. Pia, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, the couples come home, and first we see Claire and Cameron talking, and, you know, they like, oh, child, we thought our situation was bad, but I see Brennon and Emily, you know, they was doing good, but it's something happening. They didn't have a switch happen, and Austin and Becca, you know, they just avoiding talking about the situation, and that's not really healthy. Like, at least we communicating, and I don't see that working for them. And I was like, I know Claire and Cameron, the ones who we sure don't see it for, thinking they got it all together now. I know y'all trying it. Then they talking about Lauren and Orion. Okay, so they sit down and talk, and Cameron brings up, like, you know what, speaking of Orion, you know, I'm kind of inspired by him. Like, I need to start, you know, he, at the end of the day, did what he had to do for him, right? I was like, first of all, you're inspired by Orion? What? Okay, so then he said, you know, I need to protect myself and kind of choose me. So my thing is, you know, if this, I don't want to keep going with this if you're not liking me, basically. Like, I don't want to be in a situation that's unhealthy. I don't want to keep going after you, but then, you know, you're not going after me, basically. You know, he didn't say in those words, but that's basically what he's saying. And so he's like, I might need to, you know, be selfish and worry about myself at this point, because it's going to hurt me in the long run to, you know, still be trying to go after you, you know. And so they kind of ended the conversation there. They didn't really have any resolve. And so then I believe they met with Dr. Pia, right? So they met with Dr. Pia, and she noticed immediately that they didn't have their wedding rings wrong, right? So anyway, excuse me. So she was like, what's going on with that? So Cameron said he don't think that they're going to, oh, let me back up. In that first dinner conversation they had, he asked, like, is there a percentage, like, even a 1% chance this can work out? She said no, she thinks there's more than that, and they're going to work on it. Girl, bye. So anyway, with Dr. Pia, he's talking about there's, you know, I forgot what big word he used. Basically, that he don't see it working out with him and Claire, right? So Dr. Pia was like, okay, hold up. Wait a minute. Let's slow down, pull back, like, I guess because, you know, they share that the issues are with their sexual chemistry and their romance, and then their different religions and how they want to raise the kids, right? Now, on the after party, Cameron said that was not the main issues. And he also said on the after party that Claire told him, off camera, don't touch her, don't kiss her, don't do nothing. It's totally off limits. I was like, ooh, child. So anywho, with Dr. Pia said, okay, let's step back. You know, let's go back to what makes you both individually good and happy, because this is a big process. This is a lot of transition. You're going to living with each other. Like, let's slow down. Let's go back to making yourselves whole, working on yourselves individually. And also, like, don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the chemistry. Don't worry about how you're going to raise your kids. Like, we're focused on being in the moment, focused on having fun together as a couple, and all that kind of stuff, right? And so I'm like, Dr. Pia, that ain't it for them, girl. That ain't it. But Dr. Pia knows. So anywho, and I don't think she fully was buying what Cameron was saying anyway. And Keisha Knight Pulliam was not fully buying what Cameron was saying on that after party when he was spraying Claire. And Lauren had to defend her good sis. So anyway, we also see Brennon and Emily talk with Dr. Pia, right? And so Emily is sharing with Dr. Pia, like, yeah, things were, kind of rocky. We was good at the honeymoon, and the first week trying to move in, it got a little rocky, but now we're getting better. And, I'm just really trying, but I feel like we need more communication. And she said, I know it's my first relationship, but I am trying to learn. I'm trying to do stuff. Oh, y'all, I almost missed the important part. Let me backtrack. I forgot to talk about after the potluck when, I guess Austin and Brennon hung out, and Becca and Emily hung out, and Austin, was basically, Brennon was telling Austin how he's not romantically attracted to Emily, and he's trying to make it work. He's never had this in the past, but, there's no divorce in his family, so he's going to stick it out and make it work. He's telling Austin. Anyway, Becca and Emily are talking about their issues. Becca says she has to learn to be patient. Emily says she didn't give all the patience she has, and she doesn't understand, why he's not physically attracted to her. And so Becca told her, like, well, girl, you're attractive no matter what he thinks, right? And Emily's like, thanks a lot, girl, I guess. And she's like, no, you had to know that, right? She's like, I know. And she started crying. And she says she's had more strength than she realized, and she's done more than she knew she can do, but it's been hard. Okay. So fast forward back to Brennon and Emily, right? Because I didn't want to forget that piece. So y'all follow me because y'all know I be jumping around a little bit. But, so anyway, back with Brennon and Emily and Dr. Pia. Dr. Pia was cute in her pink suit. I said, oh, it's sis. She reminded me of one of my friends from college. So anywho, so like I said, Emily was saying, like, we're trying to work through things, trying to communicate more, trying to open up more, but the thing is with Brennon, like, he doesn't really like to go there. He doesn't really like to open up a lot. And so Dr. Peter's like, is that something you can agree with, Brennon? He said, yeah, it's true. He does have a hard time expressing and communicating his feelings, right? And so he said that somehow they got on the topic with the romantic connection and how he's not feeling the romantic connection to her. And so Dr. Pia said, well, I know there's no romantic connection there. And so I don't know if Emily brought it up, Dr. Pia brought it up. Anyway, so Dr. Pia said, okay, do you know why you're not having a romantic connection to Emily? And so he was like, oh, hold on, Dr. Pia, we don't want to go there. We want to be sensitive to Emily. Like, I could just imagine how she's feeling. I was like, Brennon, be quiet. So then Emily's looking like she over it. And so then Dr. P was like, that's what I'm doing. Like, did I say something to make you guys uncomfortable? And so they were like, no. And she was like, so Brennon was like, well, no, I just want to make sure my wife is good. I have to protect her. This is my wife. I have to protect her. And so Dr. P is like, that's why I'm asking to see how she feels and if she's good. She's like, Emily, am I doing anything that's making you uncomfortable? She said, no. So Dr. P is like, my thing is I got to get to the answers and the solutions. Like, first of all, I got to see what's the problem, what's causing the problem, what we going to do about it. Like, that's what all I'm trying to do. So, Brennon messing up the whole process, right? Dr. P getting irritated with him. So then she asked, Emily is like, you know what? I'm at the point where I'm over the whole shock and embarrassment of it. Of course. She already told him to tell me what it is. He said he was over the whole shock and embarrassment of it, right? And so then she was like asking Brennon, okay, so what is it like that she was asking Emily, like, what do you think, is the issue when it comes to Brennon? She told Brennon, you seem like you're trying to protect Emily. Like, in this moment, you seem like you were trying to really protect her. Is that something you typically do? He said, yeah, he does always try to look out for people. He doesn't want to say anything that's going to be damaging. So Emily was sitting there making faces with her eyes. So Dr. P caught it, right? And Dr. P was like, Emily, I can see the way you squint your eyes that you got something to say. And so Brennan's piping in like, oh no, she, that's just something she does. And so Dr. P was like, no, let her talk. I'm asking her. So then every time Emily was about to speak, Brennon kept interrupting her to the point where Dr. P had to keep telling him, no, I'm talking to Emily. Like, let Emily speak. I'm talking to Emily. Let Emily speak. I'm talking to Emily. Let Emily speak. And so for me, it's giving very much, I'm going to control you. You're not going to make me look like the bad guy on TV. It's giving very much DV energy. I'm sorry. Emily, squint, blink twice, give us a smoke signal. Girl, if you need shelter and protection from that man. Because no, Brennan, you were dead wrong for that. You were dead wrong. It was giving very much controlling. So anywho, Emily finally got to say that, it was just her being frustrated, right? And he's still trying to finish her sentences. And so she said she's gotten frustrated. Finally, Dr. P was like, thank you. So then she said she's just frustrated with him, like not saying, what the real issue is. Like, she's like, just basically say what it is already. She getting tired of it, right? So then Dr. Pia basically said, we want to be able to communicate and express what we're, even if it's going to be hurtful, we want to be frank and have open and honest communication. So then she asked them both about going to therapy. She asked Brennan, has he ever went to therapy? He said, I think he said no. She said, I think you need to be, doing some individual therapy. Would you be open to that, right? And so Brennan said, no, he's not interested. He don't feel like he need it, okay? So I don't remember what advice Dr. Pia gave them besides him going to therapy, but he was not feeling it. Also, I forgot to mention, Dr. Pia did give Claire and Cameron advice about the advice she gave them. He said he got to think about it. He wasn't ready to go full forward with it as well. Nobody's giving Dr. Pia her bill, okay? They are not paying her payment tonight. So anywho, we also see Dr. Pia talk to Becca and Austin. She's impressed how they're so close and holding hands. And they discussed the religion issues a little bit and then the intimacy issues and how Austin said he don't want to just feel like a bang bang thing. He want to, take his time and do it right. Dr. Pia's like, well, I don't see, like, how do you feel like it'll be a bang bang thing based on the way y'all are connecting here? And so he's like, no, this is how I am. I just really like to take my time with relationships. Like, it's no slight to her. Like, you can also, my exes, they got frustrated with me as well because of the same reason. I'm not buying it, Austin. You don't like that lady at all. Okay, that's what it's giving. You don't like Becca. So Becca said she's ready to get it popping. So Dr. Paya said, like, is there other stuff you could do besides, that's not intercourse you'd be open to doing? So he said, yeah, but he feels like those things have to come up naturally. Like, they're not going to talk about it. Dr. P is like, well, you need to have those conversations because, those help spark the romance and bring on the, those feelings. And so Becca got excited when he said he was open to other stuff. And so Austin was like, oh, we don't even give her no more ideas. And so she was like, I am who I am. And so P was like, own it, girl. And so he's like, no, I told her to be herself. Like, it's just me. And I got to continue to process. And I'm like, what are you on here for, Austin? Are you on here for play? Like, what are you doing? So he basically said, he like take his time, but they're going to figure out the stuff they can do in the meantime. So I just don't see it for Becca and Austin. I don't see it for none of the couples. I'm sorry. Maybe Michael, if he get a redo, maybe we could see it for him. But other than that, I don't see it for none of the couples, y'all. Okay, y'all. So then for the last few scenes, we see the couples kind of debrief after meeting with Dr. Pia. I guess Dr. Pia the only one that showed up for work today. So anyway, we do see, I believe we saw Claire and Cameron talking first, sitting on the sofa. Claire just eating something. So they talk about the whole thing with Dr. Pia, and Cameron said, I need to know, is this something that you want? He's like, I'm considering, moving out of the apartment. Do you want me to leave? And so Claire's like, well, I know that you want to leave. And Cameron's like, no, I'm not saying for me, I'm asking you, what do you want me to do? So then she's like, well, I would be very sad if you left. And, but I don't want, and he was like, well, it feels unhealthy for me because I'm really starting to have feelings for you. But if you're not feeling the same way, then I don't feel like that's healthy for me to stay. And she's like, well, like for me, I do want you to stay. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm used to this, their body being here. However, I don't want to make you stay in something that's unhealthy. I don't want you to resent me. And so then he flat out asks her, like, is there any connection here? Do you like me or not? Do you like me or not? So then she could never answer the question. And so then he kept like kind of badgering her. And she was like, are you really pissing me off when you're cutting me off? Now, mind you, she never said, no, I don't like you like that. Or yes, I want to make it work. She never said it. So then finally, she says she don't know, which is a no. If a woman says, I don't know if I like you or not, it's a no. If a man says, I don't know if I like you or not, it's a no, okay? We must well cut our losses right here with Claire and Cameron. Go on and move out. So he said to make it easy, he gonna go sleep in the spare bedroom. Now in the after party, he said that she had already asked him to leave the house, and she wouldn't say it on camera, right? He also said on the after party that Keisha Knight Pulliam brought up the fact that Claire had said that Cameron made remarks about her body and he likes the slender type. And so then maybe now that's why she's pulled back, because he thinks that Claire don't like her. Keisha Knight thinks that Claire does. No, she don't, Rudy. Keisha. So anywho, Cameron said that she took that whole thing he said about slender type out of context, like Claire's his exact type. He got exactly what he asked for. So Lauren was like, girl, I didn't got the opposite of what you didn't say, Cameron. So she said, Claire said that you were talking about her body type. She said that Cameron said on the wedding night that Claire's booty is too big and that he can never basically get off from sleeping with her. And so Cameron's looking shocked, like, did I say that? So then I think Brennan was like, are we on recording? Keisha Knight was like, oh, yes, we are. She was like, oh, what? Like, it was like, whoa, this is too much. This is too much. Also, Cameron's like, I'm not understanding why she's not attracted to me. And so I guess it came out that Claire, her type is basically athletic black men, which I already knew. I could tell when I met Claire. She like her brother. Okay, I could tell it. And so, but Cameron's like, well, I don't really believe that because all her exes are white, so I don't know. I was like, oh no, this is too much. I'm like, bring Claire back to the after party next week so we can get the other side of that tea. Lauren was trying to tell it without telling too much. That was too much. That was too much. Like I said, the after party had more tea than the real show. And then we also saw Becca and Austin, and Becca happy with the little bones. Austin threw her that they could do a little something to get it popping, but we still not having intercourse, okay? And that was like the final scene. But before we got to that final scene, we had Emily and Brennon get into it once again. And so they're debriefing after the whole talk with Dr. Pia. And so he's like, I don't understand why she keep wanting me to talk about my feelings. Like, she keep wanting me to talk about my feelings. I don't have any feelings. I'm trying to tell you I don't have any feelings. Because Brennan kept telling her, I don't have any feelings about Emily when she kept asking him. Instead of just saying, I don't have any romantic feelings about Emily, he just kept saying, I don't have any feelings, period. And it's like, no, you obviously do have feelings. It's why you don't have romantic feelings towards her. It's like, say what the feelings are, Brennan. Whoo, child. So anyway, Brennan is exhausting. They're all exhausting this season, really. So, Emily's like, well, I think like what she's saying was good, like the whole therapy thing. I think you definitely could do that. And so Brennan was like, no, I'm not going to therapy under any circumstance. And she was like, I don't understand why. And so then he was like, no, we're not about to do that. No, see, now you're making me angry. I was like, wait, what? Like, all of a sudden he got so mad at Emily. I was like, why is he getting mad? And she's like, I don't understand why you're getting upset. He was like, no, because you're acting like, it's all on me. Like, you don't have any meaningful conversations. You don't get deep and all that too. So it takes two. She's like, I know that it takes two. I don't understand why you're getting all upset. And so, they was just kind of going back and forth a little bit. Emily kind of stood her ground a little bit more than she usually does with him, which I was happy about. And he was getting mad that she agreed with Dr. Pia that he needed therapy. And you do. You definitely do. Yeah, Emily got her problems, but you definitely need therapy. And on the after party, when they were kind of flushing out the scene with Dr. Pia more and him communicating his feelings, he said that... Because Keisha Knight was like, okay, so what is it that's, why you not, what are you feeling? Like, why are you not romantically connected to her? And so then he was like, well, some things came out, how she says she likes, drinking and one night stands and ghosting and dates and all this stuff. And so he was like, okay, so are you sure you get ready to get married? And so then Keisha Knight was like, okay, well, why not, like, say those things, express those concerns to her so she could try to work on those things. And so he was like, oh, I can't change anybody or anything like that. And so then Keisha Knight Pulliam was like, okay, it's not about changing the person. Like, if they don't know what they need to work on, then, if you're not going to tell them. And then he was like, well, what do you want me to say? Like, you're partying, you're 30 years old and you still want to party, like that's you. And I was like, oh, bingo. Brennon don't like the type of girl that Emily is. Like her party girl, taking shots, all that. He's not feeling that. That's why he don't like her. That's exactly why he don't like her. And I already knew that was going to be the problem for him anyway. And I don't think you should try to control her, Brennon. There's a nice way to bring that issue up, to say, you could even say in front of Dr. P to have a safe space, like, hey, I'm concerned this was your previous lifestyle. Are you really going to be able to take a marriage seriously? That's all you got to do. There'll be no harm, no foul in that, okay? I don't understand what his problem is, but he too busy trying to tiptoe and come off aggressive and all that, so I don't understand. Next week, we gonna see, the previews they showed Orion and Lauren meeting up. Child, they don't need to meet up no more. They're gonna try to give Michael one more chance. We gonna see, we gonna have to rest all our prayers and hope on Michael at this point, because all these couples, we don't see it for them. They are not going to make it. So hopefully if Michael can get a redo, maybe he can be the hope and the savior of the season, because for everybody else, they down bad. All the couples down bad right now, okay? The only one doing good is Michael, and he didn't get to get married. Anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all thought of this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.